In an age of endless information, the true advantage is not access, it is interpretation. Welcome to Aneke TV, where journalism goes beyond headlines, beyond reaction, beyond speculation. Here, stories are investigated, issues are analyzed, voices are challenged, because an informed society is a stronger society. A discerning audience is a powerful audience. We are live, daily broadcasting, relentless clarity. Aneke TV, where knowledge meets broadcast. Across Nigeria's dynamic economy, enterprise is on the move. From the resilience of small businesses to the expanding reach of indigenous industries, commerce thrives on innovation, determination, and vision. Finance is evolving, powered by technology and driven by a new generation of entrepreneurs. In a rapidly changing world, digital transformation is redefining how we save, invest, and grow wealth. From energy to agriculture, manufacturing to tech, Nigeria's economic landscape. Across Nigeria's dynamic economy, enterprise is on the move. From the resilience of small businesses to the expanding reach of indigenous industries, commerce thrives on innovation, determination, and vision. Finance is evolving, powered by technology and driven by a new generation of entrepreneurs. In a rapidly changing world, digital transformation is redefining how we save, invest, and grow wealth. From energy to agriculture, manufacturing to tech, Nigeria's economic landscape continues to diversify. Policies shift, markets respond, and opportunities emerge. Every figure tells a story. Every trend shapes the future. The question is, where is the next opportunity? On Aneke TV, we bring you clarity beyond the numbers. This is Business Outlook on Aneke TV, tracking the markets, analyzing the trends, and spotlighting the drivers of economic growth. Aneke TV, informing enterprise, shaping perspective.
From the trading floors of Lagos to the commodity house of Enugu, we say thank you for joining us and welcome to the Aneke TV Business Outlook, broadcasting live from Enugu. Today is Tuesday, June 30th, 2026, the final trading day of the first half of the year. It is the ultimate corporate showdown. Yesterday, a late June profit-taking wave shaved over 2 trillion naira off the local equities market, proving that even the strongest bull market must occasionally pause to breathe. But as the closing bell looms on first half of 2026, the real story isn't the correction. It is the opportunity. Institutional asset managers are rebalancing their books. Savvy investors are hunting for discounted blue chip bargains, and the naira is holding its ground against peak mid-year corporate demand. This morning, we map out the data, track the cross-regional commodity spikes from Lagos to Enugu, and show you exactly where the smart capital is moving next. And this is the Business Desk, where data meets destiny and your words finds its voice. I am Uche Osai. Let's get down to business. The Nigerian stock market experienced a notable pullback yesterday, Monday, June 29th, driven heavily by late June profit taking as investors logged in returns from a massive first half rally. The Nigerian all-share index ASI dropped significantly by 1.57%, closing at 228,401.92 points, down from the previous day's close. Total equity market capitalization shed roughly 2.23 trillion naira, ending the session at 146,055 trillion naira. Market break was strongly negative, with 49 decliners outpacing a meager 12 gainers. Trading activity remained highly liquid, with over 649 million shares changing hands, valued at 25.47 billion naira. The most active stocks, Ikeja Hotel PLC, dominated both volume and value metrics, clearing over 305 million shares. And quickly taking a look at the top gainers. Regalings gained yesterday 8.86% positive adjustment to close at 0.86 kobo. And looking at UPDC, which yesterday closed at 3 naira 50 kobo, making a positive adjustment of 7.69%. They are followed by CNIF, which yesterday made a bullish adjustment as well, closing in the positive rim of 116 naira to make a positive adjustment of 5.45%. And quickly, moving to the top losers, where heavyweights drag the index down. MTN Nigeria, Unilever, and Len Africa all hit the maximum daily loss ceiling, promoting a negative 10%. Despite this sharp correction, which saw nearly 10 trillion naira shaved off the market's peak in late June, the Nigerian exchange remained Africa's top performing stock market for 2026, boasting a staggering 45.95 positive year-to-date gain in local currency and nearly 60% in USD terms since January. And quickly, here is our market projection for today. Yes, continued volatility is expected because yesterday's sell-off hit major index heavyweights like MTN. A brief extension of the bearish sentiment is likely during early morning trading as retail panic settles. And then we are looking at end of quarter portfolio window dressing, where today marks the absolute final trading day of quarter two and half year 2026. Institutional asset managers may actively buy up fundamental strong beating down stocks to optimize their half year portfolio reports. This could trigger a late afternoon recovery or bargain hunting on cheap backing and consumer goods counters. Another factor that will shape the market today is the technically oversold rebounds. With several blue chip stocks hitting their 10% lower limits yesterday. Value-driven investors and local pension fund administrators are anticipated to step in, seeing the current correction as highly attractive entry point before quarter two corporate earnings season kicks off in July. Therefore, expect a volatile mixed session today, with early sell-off pressures giving way to institutional bargain halting by midday. And quickly moving on to the forex market, where the Nigerian naira started the final week of the first half of 2026 under mild pressure, extending its recent depreciation against the US dollar across both official and unofficial market windows on Monday, June 29th. The currency experienced a slight drop in value as a result of seasonal end of quarter corporate demand for foreign exchange. Now looking at the Nigerian official market, the naira weakened slightly to close at 1,379.22 naira against the US dollars. And then quickly, this represents a marginal depreciation from the previous week's close, where it hovered around the 1,380 naira 93 kobo mark. Moving to the black market or the para market or street market, depending on what you're comfortable with. We are looking at a market in the informal market. The currency maintains its usual premium. The gap between, held relatively steady. The greenback traded around 1,390 naira for buying, and then between 1,400 and 1,405 naira for selling, depending on the location and transaction volume. The gap between the official and para markets remain relatively narrow, around 1.5 to 1.8%, pointing to sustained success in the central bank's liquidity alignment policies over the half year. And quickly taking a look at the forex market projection for today. The first half of the year forex demand, is one of the catalysts that will shape the market today. As today marks the final trading day of quarter two and first half of 2026, expect a minor surge in demand from multinational firms and institutional importers looking to clean up their books and settle overseas obligations. This seasonal pressure might keep the naira pinned near the 1,380 naira to 1,385 naira range in the official window. Another factor that will determine the direction of the market today is the CBN interventions to prevent extreme volatility on the half-year close. The Central Bank of Nigeria is expected to maintain its rhythmic dollar sales to eligible breed exchange operators and commercial banks, which should cap any drastic parallel market spikes. Another factor is the stability threshold, where, bearing any unforeseen liquidity shocks, the parallel market is projected to confidently resist breaking past the 1,000 410 naira against the dollar ceiling today, maintaining the stable horizontal trading corridors seen throughout June. The naira will likely face mild depreciation pressure in the morning due to end of quarter demand before flattening out by the close of the trading day. And then quickly, taking a look at the global oil benchmarks, where the global oil benchmark saw a relief rally yesterday, being Monday, rebounding from a recent 4-month low as immediate shipping anxieties in the Middle East counter broader macroeconomic pressures. The front-month Brent crude contract for August, delivery experienced a steady upward lift, recovering ground after a highly volatile month. Brent crude futures gained $1.16. Yes, $1.16 per barrel, or 1.61%, settling officially at $73.50 per barrel. The catalyst here is that while a temporary truce was agreed upon between the US and Iran ahead of diplomatic talks, shipping traffic through the critical Strait of Hormuz slowed down following weekend drone and missile attacks on commercial vessels. The decline in active tanker transit created immediate localized supply anxieties, triggering short covering from traders. Another factor is the macro context, where despite yesterday's bounce, Brent remains down roughly 20.5% more to date for June, heavily correcting from its 2026 peak of $118.35, reached back in late March. However, it maintains a positive year-to-date buffer of a positive 20.21%. And here is our market projection for today. All eyes on the Doha peace talks. Oil prices are already easing back down in early morning trading, slipping roughly 1% towards the $72.40 range. Traders are exercising intense caution as US and Iranian diplomats prepare to meet today in Doha, that's Qatar. Any concrete progress towards a permanent maritime peace treaty will likely spark an aggressive sell-off, removing the remaining geopolitical risk premium. Then the Strait of Hormuz gridlock. Despite the diplomatic push, hundreds of commercial oil tankers remain hesitant and completely stranded in the Persian Gulf. If ship owners continue to hold back transit over insurance or safety fears, the fiscal delivery bottleneck will keep a firm floor under prices around the $71.50 supply line. And then looking at the end of quarter positioning, as today marks the hard close for quarter 2 and first half of 2026, algorithmic fund managers are expected to aggressively rebalance their books. This typically triggers heavy erratic volume fluctuation until the closing bells. Expect a soft bearish leaning today as markets actively price in the potential for a diplomatic breakthrough in Qatar, though fiscal shipping backlogs will meet catastrophic downside. And quickly moving on to the Nigerian commodities markets, where the Nigerian commodities market saw mixed movement yesterday. While domestic staple food items faced uneven spatial price pressure driven by localized transport logistics, international export grains traded on the FX platform experienced a steady high volume session. Now taking a look at the domestic food prices, where staple prices yesterday reflected the ongoing summer seasonal pressure. Supply costs varied heavily across the 3 major urban hubs due to proximity to farming belts and varying regional village costs. Then moving on to take a look at the white garri that we know, 1 pint of it in Lagos went for between 1,000 to 1,100 naira. And in Abuja, it sold between 850 to 900 naira. And Enugu went for 950 to 1,050 naira. And then yesterday, taking a look at the local rice, 1 kg is sold loose for Lagos between 1,750 naira to 1,850 naira. And in Abuja, it went for between 1,550 naira to 1,650 naira. And in Enugu, it sold for 1,700 naira and 1,800 naira. The yam tuber, medium size of it in Lagos sold between 2,000 to 2,500. In Abuja, it sold between 1,600 and 1,800 naira. Whereas in Enugu, it went for between 1,800 naira to 2,100 naira. Tomatoes, 1 kg basket equivalent in Lagos sold between 2,500 and 3,000 naira. Whereas in Abuja, it went for between 3,500 to 4,000 naira. and in Enugu, it sold between 2,800 naira to 3,200 naira. Now, quickly taking a look at the regional dynamics, starting from Abuja, which maintained the lowest pricing on dry staples like grain and garri due to its closer proximity to north-central crop-producing belts, but experienced the highest price spikes on fresh tomatoes due to late June supply gaps in the northern logistics chain. Lagos recorded the highest prices for bulky root crops like yams, heavily weighed down by high interstate haulage costs and secondary market markups. In Enugu, it maintained a staple mid-tier pricing structure across most staples, though local grain costs experienced minor upward takes in yesterday's trading. Now quickly moving on to the export grains, where the exchange and commercial trading volumes surged as institutional off-takers locked in inventory ahead of the second half of corporate reporting season. Shogun remained highly competitive, gaining a positive 0.31% yesterday to close at 330 naira 63 per kg, driven by sustained demand from domestic breweries and commercial feed mills. Cocoa stabilized cleanly after weeks of volatile international swings, closing yesterday at 6,652 naira 13 kobo per kilogram, reflecting tight regional production volume across West Africa. And then taking a look at soybeans and maize, it maintained elevated baselines, with domestic industrial processors aggressively competing for high-grade grains to secure supply buffers before the peak lean season in July. And here is our market projection. Grains on their first platform are projected to remain flat or consolidated at their current high range today. Institutional asset rebalancing on this final day of quarter two will likely keep volumes high while preventing any sharp downward price movements. And then taking a look at the fresh supplies like tomatoes and peppers, reaching southern markets like Lagos and Enugu are expected to see minor pricing softening today as delayed weekend trucks fully offload their inventory at major distribution hubs. Prices for staples like rice and garri are expected to hold firm at yesterday's level due to rigid diesel and transportation overheads across all three regions. Expect a stable but high volume close for export commodities today, while retail urban stable prices will remain locked in their current high cross-regional tiers. And then running to the international market, where the global financial market displayed a divergent but likely recovery-driven section yesterday, being Monday, June the 29th. Wall Street forcefully snapped a 5-day losing streak as geopolitical anxieties between the US and Iran cooled down, while Asian markets showed lingering caution. Starting from the US market, where Wall Street experienced a strong relief rally, recovering a substantial chunk of last week's losses. The main driver was an easing of Middle East tensions ahead of diplomatic peace talks in Doha, which allowed investors to rotate right back into growth and technology equities. S&P 500 advanced a positive 1.18%, closing making an additional of 86.41 points to close at 7,440.43, making it its largest one-day percentage gain in 2 weeks. The Jones Industrial Average climbed a positive 0.60%, that is positive 306.63 points, to finish this section at 52,182.74 points. The market drivers here is that mega cap tech led the charge. Nvidia gained a positive 1.3%, pushing its market value north of 4.7 trillion US dollars, while the newly listed SpaceX saw heavy tech-driven volume as it prepares to enter the Nasdaq 100 index. And moving to the European markets, European shares closed relatively unchanged, balancing strong intraday tech gains against end-of-quarter portfolio caution. Stocks Europe 600 finished marginally higher by a positive 0.04% to close at 636.11 points. The European technology sector was the standout performer, rallying a positive 1.4%. Notably, digital engineering firm Nagro saw a massive 91% surge following a buyout offer from India's persistent Asian dealers. And then quickly moving to the Asian market, where the Asian indices traded with a distinct note of caution, still licking their wounds from last week's deep tech sell-offs, which had triggered circuit breakers in South Korea on Friday over semiconductor expenditure concerns. Now looking at India, BSE Sensex fell a negative 0.48%, signifying a loss of 372 points to settle at 76,728, dragged down by a 2% drop in automotive and banking counters. And in Japan, Nikkei 225 and regional electronics indices stabilized into a directionless narrow corridor, while the structural easing of oil prices provided comfort. Investors withheld major capital. Yes, investors did withhold major capital commitments pending critical U.S. macroeconomic data updates later this week. Expect an active, high-volume global section today. U.S. futures indicates a steady open, though regional markets directions will change heavily on midday geopolitical updates from Qatar. And quickly, before we go, here is our market advice, especially for our Nigerian investors. We are urging you to do not go into panic selling in the late June correction. Do not go into panic selling in the late June correction. Treat yesterday's 2.23 trillion naira equity pullback as a discounted entry window before Q2 earnings season kicks off in July. On equities, we urge you to accumulate beating down tier 1 banking and industrial heavyweights like MTN or major banking counters that hit deep valuation floors yesterday. Institutional portfolio rebalancing today will likely trigger late afternoon bargain hunting. And then we urge you to leverage on T+1 liquidity. Yes, utilize the T+1 settlement cycle for quick capital turnaround. If you sell to rebalance today, your funds are liquid by tomorrow morning. Currency buffers is another point we encourage, with the Naira holding a stable corridor between 1,379 Naira to 1,405 Naira against the US dollar. Maintain a defensive chunk of capital in dollar-hedged assets or export-heavy commodities like FS, Shogun, and cocoa to absorb standard mid-year corporate FS demand. The bottom line here is that the Nigerian exchange is still Africa's top performer this year with a positive 45.95% year-to-date gain. The fundamentals are intact by the institutional profits taking. And this is where we'll be drawing the curtains on this segment of our market analysis. However, we urge that before you make an incursion into the financial market, please do well to consult a certified financial analyst. This is due to the volatility of the market. We urge you to stay sharp, manage your entry points closely, and let the numbers guide your strategy through today's opening bell. And keep watching the Aneke TV market segment to stay ahead. I am Uche Osai. Invest wisely.
Across Nigeria's dynamic economy, enterprise is on the move. From the resilience of small businesses to the expanding reach of indigenous industries, commerce thrives on innovation, determination, and vision. Finance is evolving, powered by technology and driven by a new generation of entrepreneurs. In a rapidly changing world, digital transformation is redefining how we save, invest, and grow wealth. From energy to agriculture, manufacturing to tech, Nigeria's economic landscape continues to diversify. Policies shift, markets respond, and opportunities emerge. Every figure tells a story. Every trend shapes the future. The question is, where is the next opportunity? On Aneke TV, we bring you clarity beyond the numbers. This is Business Outlook, on Aneke TV, tracking the markets, analyzing the trends, and spotlighting the drivers of economic growth. Aneke TV, informing enterprise, shaping perspective.
Corruption in Nigeria is not limited to isolated scandals. It is systemic, deeply embedded, and sector-specific, affecting critical areas of governance, particularly oil and gas, power, the judiciary, and local government administration. These sectors highlight how weak oversight, institutional fragility, and accountability gaps continue to constrain national development. Nigeria's oil and gas sector, the backbone of the national economy, remains highly vulnerable to corruption. Despite contributing the largest share of government revenue and foreign exchange earnings, the sector faces challenges of opaque accountability, weak audits, and repeated allegations of under-remittance. Independent investigations into the period between 2011 and 2017 uncovered unresolved revenue discrepancies running into tens of billions of dollars. Crude oil sales, fuel subsidy claims, and joint venture arrangements have been particular areas of concern, while reforms like the commercialization of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and the Petroleum Industry Act were designed to improve transparency, implementation gaps persist. Recent international asset recoveries, including over $50 million repatriated from the United States, illustrates the scale of past governance failures and the slow pace of accountability. The power sector also reflects the impact of weak governance on economic and social development. Since 1999, Nigeria has reportedly spent over $16 billion on interventions in electricity generation, transmission, and distribution. Yet, supply remains unreliable for a population exceeding 200 million. Audits indicate contract inflation, poor project supervision, and regulatory uncertainty as major challenges. Debt within the gas-to-power value chain has forced government bailouts and emergency payment to suppliers. Recent steps, including settlement of legacy gas debts, aim to stabilize the sector, but experts warn that without transparent procurement, stronger regulation, and disciplined subsidy management, energy insecurity will persist. The judiciary is critical in enforcing anti-corruption laws, but public confidence remains low. Surveys conducted by the National Bureau of Statistics and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime show that judicial officers receive some of the highest average bribe payments among public officials. Perception studies consistently rank the judiciary among the most corrupt institutions, particularly in politically sensitive or high-value cases. Prolonged trials, frequent adjournments, and the procedural loopholes contribute to public skepticism. Legal analysts argue that stronger judicial discipline, improved remuneration, and institutional safeguards are essential to restore credibility. At the local government level, corruption directly affects citizens' daily lives. Councils responsible for primary health care, education, sanitation, and rural infrastructure are often cited in surveys for routine bribery and mismanagement. The National Bureau of Statistics reports that more than half of Nigerians interacting with public officials engage systemic issues. Economic studies estimate that corruption costs Nigeria billions of dollars annually and could erode up to 37% of GDP by 2030 if reforms stall. Beyond economic loss, it undermines service delivery, widens inequality, and weakens democratic legitimacy. Policy analysts now advocate for a governance-first approach, strengthening institutions, ensuring transparency in public finance, digitizing service delivery, protecting whistleblowers, and guaranteeing judicial independence. For Nigeria, the challenge is no longer diagnosing corruption, but sustaining the political will to reform the systems that allow it to persist. In a country facing economic pressure, security challenges, and rising public expectations, governance reform remains central, not optional, to national progress.
Morning headlines before you step out. Midday updates while you work. Evening analysis when the day winds down. Wherever life takes you, Aneke TV keeps you informed, connected, and ahead. Aneke TV. Move with the world. Hello, good morning. Welcome to Aneke TV Sports. Today I am your one and only sport oracle, Gudop Chukuma, bringing you live what's happening in the world of sports. Today promises to be interesting as we delve right into the events, the World Cup, tennis, Formula One. And I just want to let you know that the Formula One game, the British Grand Prix, is coming up this weekend. I don't know your predictions, but I'm telling you that you already know my predictions and you know who I have chosen to be part of what we're doing. Yes, I'm not here alone as we normally do. I have wisdom.
All right, good morning. How are you guys doing? Welcome to your favorite, sports show, Aneke Sports. And, just going right straight into it, of course, we have many things to talk about, especially in terms of World Cup. But before we go into the World Cup, just like you have said, the Formula One is here, the British Grand Prix, and you are already picking a side, picking a winner. I don't know if it's that same sir that you are picking, but I want to tell you,
I'm picking man.
I want to tell you this morning that
it will not work.
You might not get that sir to get this Grand Prix, because
So who
now
will I get?
we are even having George Rose coming up, who won the last.
No. I'm asking who. So who will I
You
now
might
get?
now I think it's time for Kimi. He has been by this side, and he has lost the Barcelona. Then he lost the other one. Now I think this thing has to be turn by turn. Sir Lewis Hamilton has had his own turn. George Russell had his own turn. So you guys should allow this young boy to, take his own turn, not try to, wave him, just put him under the carpet and go back to Sir Lewis Hamilton again. It has to follow a particular order, that we should see him. It's been a while. Come on, it's been more than since the time of Monaco Grand Prix, and you are still saying you are not mentioning his name. I don't think is going to be like that. I'm going to tell you for a fact that Kimi is going to win this one?
First of all, I would like to commend your looks. I would like to commend your looks.
I'm looking like Kimi.
You look very young and healthy.
Yeah, I'm still very young. I'm still in my 18.
Yeah. You look very young and healthy, and I must tell you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I hope you had a lot of invitations because of the way you look.
Well,
I must give it up to your barber for keeping you looking young.
Yeah, the guy is doing great.
And if you understood what I said,
also to God, he's keeping me young.
God kept you young.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank me too, because
thank you.
I have been working hard behind the scene to ensure you're okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, I mean, you said I should not talk about.
Is that what you're saying?
No.
Is that the reason for this comments? Is that where you're going?
No, really. Let's get the facts straight.
Okay.
You said I should not thank God for your. I should not thank God.
No, I did not say so.
Okay.
I did not say so. I only say you should not
talk about Formula One.
No,
about
that is going to win it this time
okay,
around.
so who will win it, man?
Man will not win it, but the young guy will win it.
Okay, you mean
Kimi will win.
Kimi and Tonelli will win it. Well, if Kimi wins, Kimi is still part of my guys. It's part of my team.
So you should have.
But Lewis Hamilton, Lewis Hamilton is already ahead on this game, and we're going to see what happens at the end of it. Well, you don't have all the right in the world to say what will happen.
No, of course I don't.
You don't have the influence.
I'm just telling you.
You're just telling me what you wish.
I'm giving you a foresight.
Okay, your foresight is that
Kimi is going to win.
Okay.
Just take it from me. Mark today.
Kimi is going to win the England and the British Grand Prix, right?
Yeah.
Where Lewis Hamilton has won it more than 5 times in a row.
Of course, that was when Kimi was not driving. Kimi was not there. So now it's a different ball game. There are different people here. So this time around, of course, he won it when he was not there. Now he's there. So you are going to see something different. Okay. And of course, Kimi has won a lot when Sir Hamilton was there. So now I think he's the young man's turn, to get a win for this Grand Prix.
Well, I can tell you that it has been amazing. And Kimi Antonelli has been doing what he knows best how to do, driving even the team and himself crazy. Even George Russell, talking about the Mercedes driver too, who won the last Grand Prix. And the Austrian
guys in Mercedes, they are doing
they are doing well.
So
and I tell you that one thing about these Mercedes guys is that they invested a lot in their in their cars and the maintenance. And still talking about that, I can tell you that this Grand Prix is going to be an amazing one, because Lewis Hamilton is going to feature mightily, while you have the likes of Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, and Kimi Antonelli with George Russell. Max Verstappen too is going to set his record straight. And we're going to see what happens at the end of the day. For me, I must tell you that this is the race everyone has been waiting for. I know you are waiting for the race, and that's why you have been predicting what I don't know.
I just want to see the young guy, because for me it's been like a too disappointing run for him. He has lost Barcelona, then he lost the other one. Just Monaco has been almost a month ago, so it's been long.
Well, let me tell you, in case you're talking about that, it has been the most wins you've ever had from a race. Talking about this in British Grand Prix that is coming up this weekend. Most win has been Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton has won it more. Most pole positions has been 7. That's Lewis Hamilton. And most laps led, most podiums 15. That's Lewis Hamilton. Most laps led, Lewis Hamilton. Times 367 laps.
Okay.
You see the facts. Now we are talking about most points scored. That's 345 points scored. That's talking about Lewis Hamilton. And this thing now is this race now is going to be one of the races that nobody knows what will happen, because you are going to be confronting me with Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, then from all his records that he has had over the time, we can still say that these are different people that are going to drive this time around. We are having someone that has not even been involved in this British Grand Prix before, talking about Kimi. Then we still have Verstappen, we have the other guy. So I'm telling you that we are going to be expecting something different. Just take it that you are going to see something different that day. And I wish everyone were at the end of the day. If at the end of the day, Sir Hamilton gets to win,
to be like a race that he knows very well because he has done this over and over again. But moving forward, from the world of Formula One, we also have in the world of boxing, the Zuffa boxing is coming up. There is a match, a very strong match for the world heavyweight title. This is the world boxing, challenges between Alexander Usyk versus Deontay Wilder. This Wilder, it's been a while I saw Wilder, get into the ring. I can tell you that we have been seeing more of Usyk, but Wilder, it's been a long time I saw him, and this fight is coming up. It will be, of course, televised, or you have the opportunities to see it on the Zuffa Arena, and it's coming up very soon. I think July, and it's going to be a very entertaining and a very competitive match. These guys are on the heavyweight title.
Look at their faces.
No, look, just look at Usyk. He's not even, he's not even in the mood. For me, he's not even in the mood.
It's not fun to be with.
It's not fun to be with. This guy, I can tell you that he's just ready for the match. And Wilder, looking like someone that is still training. Meanwhile, Usyk is already, let's get into the ring and get this show started. It's going to be a lovely, in fact, a wonderful fight. I can tell you that both of them have been preparing. They have been taking their time to prepare. And of course, that's not the only fight that is coming up. But I want to give you guys the rankings, for these boxing athletes. There is a lot of name here, but let's go to the top 10 according to DAZN. This is number 1 here is Nayo Inoue. Then number 2 is the guy that is fighting, of course, Alexander Usyk. Number 3 we have Shakur Stevenson. Then on position 4 we have Jesse Rodriguez. This is when I saw this name, I was thinking it was James Rodriguez.
Yes, of Colombia.
Just looking similar, almost the same name. Then, of course, with number 5, we have David Benavidez. Then in number 6, we have Dimitri Bivol. Then number 7, we have Jonto Nakatani. I'm sure this guy is from Japan or China, but one of the two. Then in number 8, we have Devin Haney. Then in number 9, we have Jaron Ennis. Then number 10, we have Oscar Colazo. Oscar Colazo, whether it's Colabo, I don't know. But
Oscar Colabo.
Well, that's the top 10, that you have there. Then, of course, still in the world of boxing, we have Fight Week. There's a match coming up July 4th. That's, of course, this weekend. It's a fight between Mason and Bell. This is for the championship. This, of course, the lightweight championship is going to be broadcasted on DAZN. Of course, TNT are also there. It's for the World Boxing Organization. It's just like a lightweight match, but this match is going to be very interesting. I can tell you, these guys are looking so prepared. Mason versus Bell. These guys are looking all young, but they are looking so energized. Mason, I can tell you, is currently the holder of the World Boxing Organization for the lightweight. But of course, Bell is going to put up a good fight to take these belts from him. Bell is going to fight for the belt. So I'm telling you, this is going to be a match that you will not want to miss. Then, of course, moving up, in the wrestling, we have Hell in a Cell fight. Of course, our own Obafemi, we have been seeing, his movements in the world of wrestling. Obafemi is also coming up again, to fight. I don't know if this guy has turned to his arch enemy. He's always fighting Brock Lesnar.
Yes,
I don't know what Brock Lesnar has done to him. But
it's a Brock Lesnar has been the thorn in the flesh of the young of the. Look at both of them. Like, what's this thing I'm seeing?
Brock Lesnar is already old though. This guy should be 40 something, if not getting to 50. And Obafemi, this should be the 3rd time now that they are going to have a match, if not even more than 3rd or 4th, because Obafemi won one, then Brock Lesnar had to come and beat him again. Then they had a fight that was not concluded. Now they still want to get a fight, and of course this one is Hell in a Cell, so it's going to be a fight that is more like no rules. You are going to be in a cage and you fight till you give up. This match or this fight is coming up Saturday, August 1st. Of course, it's part of the SummerSlam matches that is going to be, broadcasted. You are going to have the opportunity to see it live on Netflix and other platforms. But don't forget, it's August 1st, Saturday and Sunday. That's August 2nd that the SummerSlam is taking place. So just keep the schedule free for that day. August 1st, August 2nd, you're having the SummerSlam come up. And of course, our own Obafemi, who has been doing so great in the world of wrestling, is fighting the legendary himself, Brock Lesnar. We know when Brock Lesnar was young, you can tell for a free that Obafemi will not have an easy fight for this kind of person. This person does not give up. He does not tap out. You are going to look for, I don't know the technique you are going to use to win it, but if you are saying you are going to win it with fall from grace, that's, of course, Obafemi's finishing move in wrestling. It gives you fall from grace, then, of course, you can say this match is over. But someone like Brock Lesnar, if you give him fall from whatever, I don't think that's going to take him out. So you are going to have to look for something special, something. In fact, you are going to have to beat this guy to the extent that he's tired, he cannot more stand up. But if you are going to rely on falling from or heaven or fall from grace or fall from anywhere, I can tell you, Lesnar does not give up like that. He can't get the 3 count from him just lifting him up and dropping him. This guy,
yeah,
I don't know the endurance in Lesnar over time. This is someone that's also involved in kickboxing. He has been in this game for quite too long to just say you're going to win it. So of course, for Obafemi, you know what you have to do. You have won him before. You just know what to do to get a win. But we wish him. What do you think about this fight?
It's going to be a clash of titans.
Yeah.
Even though Obafemi, very young man, forget that he's this big. I mean,
He's still very young.
Yes, he's very young. He's very, very young. And if someone would want to check his age on the internet, they'll be so surprised.
He's not up to 30. Obafemi, is he up to 30?
Obafemi is not up to, it's not
24 or 5.
It's not you think. He's not that old. He's not even up to 30. So he's not an old person that you're trying to organize fights with an older man. He's young. Just that, looking at that, you will still see that, now he's young. There's young boy, young man blood that is really pumping, and there's going to be a fight, a clash of the titans, because their faces are not good.
No, their faces,
No,
their physique.
Their physique are not good.
And this is not the first time they are meeting. This guy, they have fought more than twice.
More than twice, of course.
Obafemi won one. Lesnar won the other one.
Brock Lesnar won the other one. Now, I just want to bring us to the side, considering why that Don Jones for next fight. This side, he's not resting. He's considering Wilder and Don Jones for next fight.
So he has already mapped out that, okay, after he's done beating Wilder, he's going for, because he have not even won the match, already programming another match ahead.
For next fight. And now looking at this guy's tattoo, you will see a scripture there, Philippians 4:13. It's very funny looking at that, and even at the end of the day, you would see he tattooed Philippians 4:13 here. And you're not a Bible student, so this is not even a Bible class to ask you what it means.
But you can tell our viewers, some of them would like to know what
you don't know what it means.
Me, I don't know what is there.
Well, looking at that, you could really see that he's so big on what he believes, and that is really giving him a lot of energy, and he's really, really into this game. And I think he's talking about that he can do all things through Christ who strengthens him. So, he can beat Alexander Usyk through Christ who strengthens him. And that's amazing. That's really, really amazing.
That's good.
While we're still talking about this, we're going to look at you've talked about the Ennis and Fudora fight.
Yeah.
And I want us to just take a look down at the last dance. That's the last dance and the WBC belt that is coming. This welterweight bout in the championship on July 4th. The belt is out. Who will win this belt? Who will wear this belt? And this belt is not just the belt.
Looking so beautiful.
Looking so beautiful. It will fit you, my guy.
I would love to have
this.
Look at the silver line. In fact, I think I'll go into boxing.
Yes.
If I can just get this belt, I'm done.
Yes, actually, it was a welterweight, a special July 4th commemorative championship bout to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States, with the belt going to the winner of Bruce Shushu Carrington versus Rene Palacios on 4th of July in Cleveland. That's the person who's going to take these belts. It's going to be a fight in Cleveland, and I don't know how they are getting ready for that belt. Wizzy, I will give you this belt.
I'm telling you that if I should get into the boxing match, if I should have an opportunity to fight for this belt and I eventually win, I might not return it again. I'll just take it. If they're asking for it, if I'll tell them I'm done. That my career is done. I'm not interested in it. Look at the way the belt is well crafted, well lined. The silver. In fact, you know that they spent quality time, to produce this kind of masterpiece. And if I should get a hold of it, forget it. I'm not challenging anybody. Nobody should challenge me again. If it's for this belt you are challenging me, just forget it. They should better do another belt and bring it and say, okay, this is for the championship that you people are about to fight. But for that one I have already, I'll just go and hang it somewhere in my room, put it on the wall there. Anybody that comes to visit me, I'll show you that, okay, look at what I got from the boxing match that I was involved. And I retired. After that, I retired. I'm not interested in fighting again. They should go for other belts.
Sorry, I'm thinking while you're talking about the belt, let me take our viewers back a little about the Max Verstappen's camp. Talking about F1, news reaching me right now is that Max Verstappen's camp, they have held a meeting with F1 rivals, McLaren. Looks like there would be some shake-up in Red Bulls, in the camp of Red Bull, where from Sky Sports, it was understood that these talks were initiated by Verstappen representatives. So it could be there will be some exchange, some contract that will be signed, and this guy may leave Red Bulls, may leave Red Bull this season. And I don't know, looking at how much he has done and how much has driven for Red Bull, the results is speaking.
So now he wants to go to...
we could see what happens. For now, McLaren, we could see what happens. Okay. We could see what happens maybe before the end of the week. We could have a clearer picture, a clearer sight of what is going on and how it is going to be. And I must tell you, that is something that it happens. It really does happen. Yeah, and course. Just like Lewis Hamilton moved from McLaren into Mercedes, and from Mercedes down to Ferrari, that's the same way each and every one of them could be transferred. And still talking about transfer, George Russell has confirmed that he's going to drive for Mercedes in 2027. It's confirmed.
So he still continue with Mercedes, of course.
He's going to continue with Mercedes into 2027. So throughout 2027, he will announce what's happening in the next part of his life, maybe ending of 2027 into 2028. Okay. Really, I must tell you that it's really a good news for the Mercedes side, because who would they have selected? And at the end of the day, they have a lot of people too.
They still have a lot of people. Yes, they still have Kimi there. So, but these things are more like maybe for our viewers that don't know that there is also contract signing, where just like in football, where you sign for 4 years or you sign for 2 years, then after that somebody else can come and buy you. It's almost a similar case in this Formula One, where you can be driving for Mercedes this season and the next season someone else is coming. So it happens, but sometimes you could say for Formula One they stay a longer time. You can see a driver driving for a decade where you will be there for up to 10 years. So they kind of stick to their team for a longer time, even more than football. But sometimes when the odds are not going for you, you tend to change somewhere and see if you could try another version. But it's something good, and I hope we'll get to see what happens if he's staying or is leaving.
Of course, we're going to see what happens, and I must tell you that he will stay, because I'm seeing him long-term with Mercedes, even though it may not be so long-term, but I'm seeing him...
Mercedes project now is more of Kimi.
More of Kimi, and then we could have a lady coming up to drive with Kimi. And let's take a short break. When we return, we're going to bring you what's happening around the FIFA World Cup, what you are to expect, and also the informations and the fixtures and the dramas that happen late in the midnight, and also how the standing so far has been, and the next opponent that the winners of the round of 32 who just played would face. These and more will come your way. Let's have a short break. We'll be right back shortly. Stay with us.
Every second, the world changes. Markets rise. Leaders speak. Stories unfold. To keep up, you don't just need news. You need clarity. You need speed. You need perspective.
That's why Aneke TV brings you the global pulse. Accurate, reliable, right when it matters most. Aneke TV. Move with the world. Now, welcome back. Welcome back and welcome back and welcome back. We are shooting right into the football segment where we have the information coming to us and the update we've seen concerning the round of 32. But first of all, we would like to take you through the journey of what is happening in the transfer world, where yesterday Enzo Maresca was confirmed as the new head coach of Manchester City after Pep Guardiola's 10-year spell came to an end just last season. Pep Guardiola's season came to an end with 20 trophies in 10 seasons, and that has marked him and made him a legend for Manchester City, even whilst a lot of commendation, a lot of failures too has been attached to that. Pep Guardiola's next period, next job could be that he's not going to move to any club. He just wants to have some rest.
He wants to have some time with his family.
Yeah, some
he has
time with
already
his family.
said he wants to go on a vacation, at least spend time with his daughter.
Are we not going to go on a vacation?
Yeah, we should go on vacation sometime, but this man has been in the game for quite a long time and he deserves the rest. He said he wants to go and spend time with his family. Of course, we know when he had some issues with his wife. I don't know if they have reconciled, but this man, I can tell you, in terms of football, he has achieved a lot in terms of football. And we can see that even not just him now, the people that he has worked with are also doing great. Now he has had to play or to coach someone like Xavi. Xavi was part of the people that he coached when he was in Barcelona, and today Xavi is also a coach that is trying to.
We could actually see the pictures of those who has gone through him. For the period of their life, you could see the likes of Xavi
Alonso is still there.
Xabi Alonso, Xavi.
Who he had to coach when he was in Bayern Munich.
Xavi himself.
The first one is Xavi. Javi, they pronounce it Javi. This one is Xabi Alonso, the current Chelsea's coach.
The other one is
Vincent Kompany.
Who
was under him in
Manchester
City.
Mighty
with Bayern Munich right now. He's doing great.
Then you have Luis Enrique. You have Luis Enrique, who is taking over France with PSG.
Taking over the world in terms of club football. Yeah. Because right now, having to win 2 Champions League back to back,
really.
In fact, it's something else. Do you know the Cali? He met Guardiola, of course, in this competition twice. That he was there, that he won it back to back. He met what's his name, Hansi Flick. He met Vincent Kompany. He met a lot of coaches from including Chelsea's coach. In fact, Chelsea coaches, because they had a lot of coaches within that period. He met Arteta. So this guy has conquered football. Then we have, of course, Erik ten Hag. We are talking about people that has worked with Guardiola himself. Erik ten Hag, who was a manager under Bayern Munich, the second division. Then, of course, we also have Mikel Arteta, who was his assistant manager during his own spell with Manchester City. But, of course, he has moved forward to become the head coach of Arsenal. And
all of them are doing well.
All you can say for sure that Erik ten Hag is also a manager right now. Alonso has come to Chelsea to stay. We have Vincent Kompany, who is doing great with Bayern Munich. Enrique is, of course, is still the coach of Paris Saint-Germain. Mikel Arteta currently the Premier League champion. So these guys, I can tell you, they are doing fantastic, and they are making Pep Guardiola himself proud, and a man that can, beat his chest and say, I want to retire. I've laid the legacy, in terms of coaching. Right now, he has men that are coaching, in different places. More than 5 clubs has his own people that have worked with him or worked under him, representing. And we move forward straight into the actions of yesterday. I can tell you it was if you have missed yesterday's matches, you have missed a lot, because it was all filled with action. The first match of the day came around 6 p.m. where we had Brazil to face Japan. And of course, earlier we said that match was, an unpredictable match. And Mr. Good Hope himself, the Oracle, actually said Japan is going to take the lead first, then Brazil is going to come from behind. And I can tell you for a fact that was how it happened. Japan got the lead in the first half through Kano. Kano had to be the opening scorer at the 29th minute, and of course, everyone was now excited to see how Brazil were going to respond. And of course, the man himself, who was the man of the match, Casemiro, came up at the 56th minute to equalize. the match, later proceeded, and we had to have an additional time where Gabriel Martinelli came up with a late winner that broke the Japanese heart. He had to score the second goal of the match at the 90 plus 6 minutes. I can tell you that football match was one of the match of the tournament where we are expecting to see something, but it was going in another direction, keeping your heart pumping, keeping you, waiting for what is going to happen. It was all an exciting match, and I can tell you that if you have missed it, then please don't miss any other match that is coming on. The FIFA World Cup right now is taking shape that you can never predict what is going to happen. Then the second match of the day came forward where we had Germany to play Paraguay. And of course, I also tipped Germany to win, but we have seen right now that in football, you can never say never. Something can come out from nowhere. And of course, Paraguay took the lead, and it was now Germany that had to equalize in the second half through Kai Havertz, but the match did not end there. Full time, it became 1-1, and they had to go into penalty shootout where it's a nobody game. Anybody can get a victory in the penalty shootout. We cannot say you are a professional or you're a better squad or you're a better player. Anybody can miss. We saw Kai Havertz, who was the person that gave Germany the equalizer, having to miss his own penalty, and it was a blow when he lost the first penalty. Havertz took the first penalty and he lost, and of course Paraguay had the advantage. They proceeded to score their penalty after some penalties were scored. Kimi scored this penalty, Musiala scored this penalty, Gomez came forward, scored this penalty. Then Nico Waterman from Newcastle had to miss, of course, the fourth penalty for Germany. This gave Paraguay a 2-goal advantage, but of course they also missed their fourth penalty, and Amri had to score the fifth penalty for Germany, but at the end of the day, Jonathan Tah from Bayern Munich had to, lose the sixth penalty for Germany, leaving the option for just the last person from Paraguay to take the last kick and put Paraguay into the round of 16. And he did exactly that. That was from Kane, who took the last penalty and, slotted the ball past the keeper beautifully. Then, of course, earlier in the morning, we saw the match between Netherlands and Morocco. In fact, that was another blockbuster of a match, which also ended up in the penalty box. All the actions were in the second half of the game, where Gakpo had to give the opener. The opening goal was scored from Cody Gakpo, who, of course, had to struggle emotionally. I can tell you he was emotionally down because he lost his beautiful kid, but at the end of the day, he had to feature in the match. He got the opener at the 72nd minute through Somerville. But of course, Morocco had to equalize through Diop, which was at the 90 plus 1 minute, the dying moment of the match. I can tell you there are so many goals that have come from the dying minutes of the FIFA World Cup this 2026. There are so lot. And of course, this match at the extra time, there was no goal. So the match basically proceeded to penalties where Morocco had to defeat Netherlands at the end of the day to become victorious, 3-2 in terms of penalty shootout. And, these all were the actions from yesterday. And I can tell you the FIFA World Cup 2026 is now taking shape. Morocco will now have to play Canada, the Canadian team that, defeated South Africa, also scoring at the dying minute, the late hour of the match. I don't know if they are all keeping the moment, the action for the late. Brazil had to get a dying minute winner. Paraguay had to get, proceed to the extra time and get a late winner. Then we're having to see another people proceeding to the round of 16 through a dying minute win. And of course, let me quickly give you the matches we have for today. By 7, we are going to see Ivory Coast take on Norway. Meanwhile, France is going to take on Sweden. In fact, you don't want to miss these two matches. The Ivory Coast, the Elephants of Ivory Coast, playing against the side that has, the stars that we call, the great guys, the machine, the goal scoring machine himself. Haaland is there, Solot is there, Damsgaard is there, Odegaard is there, Nusa is there, and of course, you can't say less out of the Ivory Coast team where you have Diallo, still balling for the team, and it's going to be a match that you will not want to miss. This match is promising to be a goal-scoring match where the two sides, of course, are very attacking in nature. Then we will see France and Sweden come up around 10 o'clock in the night. Then before the next morning, where you are going to have the Mexican match. But this France and Sweden match, I don't know. You should not miss this match because we are having one of the, contenders for the golden boot, of course, Mbappe and Dembele. In fact, there are two that are going to feature in today's match against the Sweden side that has one of the highest assists, coming from the like of the attacker Alexander Isak. He has produced 3 assists so far in this tournament, and now they are having to play Sweden, France. Guy Corres is still there, but he has not got some goals, but they are still balling. But I don't know the possibility or the likelihood that we are going to see Sweden beating France. But we have seen some of these things, some of these cases play out. If Paraguay can get a victory over Germany in terms of football, these two are not on the same side, are not on the same level, are not on the same level. Paraguay should be, if not more than, in the position of 50 or 60 within that range. But Germany, if you talk about first 10 in football, they are there. But yesterday, they defied the odds. They had to get a victory and proceed to the round of 16 against a German side that is filled with so many stars. But we are having France play with the less of 32, and I can tell you that it's going to be an exciting match. Mr. Goodhope, I don't know if you are going to see this match, but what do you
France.
From your prediction yesterday? If the viewers took it yesterday, they will have made a lot for people that going to prediction and gambling. But today, let's have your prediction for France versus Sweden.
Well, France versus Sweden, having it early could understand that what we do here, we are sincere and we're seeing, we are not just issue France would have. That has affected them. That affected them against Norway. Now, that cost them penalty.
Yeah.
So looking at their stats, even while they are playing, they played a very good game. But at the end of the day, they also won. Now, looking at how it's going to be France versus Sweden, seeing the Swedish side where you have the likes of Alexander Isak, Gyökeres, and big ballers in across Europe and the world, I would tell you it's not going to be an easy win for France if France will win. But I expect France to win, and I expect France to put 4 goals ahead.
Wow.
Yes. You know why I said I expect France to put 4 goals? There's no place France will play and they will not score them. They must score them.
Yeah, so far, even Senegal scored them when they won 3-1. Norway got a goal.
Both teams definitely would want to play and would want to score each other. And it's going to be a go thing for me.
Yeah, but, if we are going to go by 4 goals, I don't know if it's going. Of course, the Swedish side, they also get to concede a lot because we saw the other time during the group stage, Netherlands had to score 5 past them. They had to trash Sweden 5-1. Now coming to play in the round of 32 against a side that it's also, I can tell you they score for a living. This France side, they have scored so many goals in these tournaments, if not more than 12. They scored 4 against Norway, 3 against Senegal, and they have been firing in all cylinders. So this match, definitely, Sweden are going to have to do a lot of defensive football. Of course, Swedish side, they play more of an attacking football, but this time around, when you are meeting somebody that plays the attacking football that you cannot keep up with, you now have to go defensive to, at least secure the defense first, that goals don't get to, start coming in as if it's going to be a basketball game. Because if you are to leave France, if you are going to give them that foot, where you have Dembele, where you have Olise, where you have Mbappe, where you have Doué, where you have these guys to attack you, I can tell you that they are going to score more than 5 goals if you are not going to keep your defense intact. So the Swedish side are going to have to sit and defend today, because you can't afford to attack for a side that is more attacking, minded than you. So you don't have that prowess, you don't have that attacking prowess to face a side like France, who almost all their guys in front are very good. They have a lot of options. Checking is still there, who does not even get to start the match, and he's still on the bench. So if they should unleash their full squad on you, I don't know if you are going to survive. So that's why you just have to play the defensive pattern to curtail them for 90 minutes. And of course, for me, I'm going to give it to France, to get a victory any day, anytime.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to France.
We have seen from Paraguay, I learned lesson yesterday that you cannot just say anything.
Listen,
you can't say that France are just going to win.
First of all, I think we should talk about this when we come back from break.
All right.
Because this is an extended topic. Because looking at FIFA World Cup, there's no small team again.
There's no
team you could say they would not win or they will lose. Look at Cape Verde. Cape Verde is going to play Argentina.
Argentina.
So how will Cape Verde cope? What if Cape Verde eventually wins Argentina hold them down in a knockout shootout?
In fact, that's why I say if Cape Verde managed to get a victory against Argentina, we should just give them the World Cup, because for me they have done well. In fact, that victory would deserve. If there's a way that after beating Argentina, you just hand over the World Cup to them, say, take, you have won it, because against all these guys, they got a draw from Spain. The Spanish thing, where you have the likes of Lamine Yamal, Ferran Torres, Oyarzabal, Rodri, Nico Williams. This guy were able to curtail Spain, and Spain could not get a goal. Dani Olmo could not even get any goal. And they came to play Uruguay. We thought that was all. They now came to play, because we might say Spain, they don't, like taking shots outside the box. They like to play and get into the box and score a goal. Okay, we say, okay, we want to see another team that plays a different pattern.
Every second, the world changes, markets rise, leaders speak, stories unfold. To keep up, you don't just need news, you need clarity, you need speed, you need perspective.
That's why Aneke TV brings you the global pulse. Accurate, reliable, right when it matters most. Aneke TV. Move with the world.
All right, welcome back from that short break. We are still talking about the FIFA World Cup, which is still on. We have given you the matches that are coming up, later today. If you are just joining us, I'm going to give you the matches again that are coming up. We have Ivory Coast versus Norway around 7. Then we have France versus Sweden, which has been the match we have been talking about. And this match is coming up by 10. It's going to be a match that you will not want to miss. Then later in the day, or tomorrow early in the morning, we will have the other matches, which is going to be between England versus Democratic Republic of Congo. We still have Mexico versus Ecuador coming up around 3. Early in the morning, that will be tomorrow. So these matches are coming up. Belgium, of course, will be playing Senegal. These are the matches that we still have coming up for the round of 32. And in football, we have seen that you cannot underrate anybody. If Paraguay could scale through against the German machines, what is there in football that cannot happen again? I can tell you for a fact there is nothing. And of course, our African brothers, talking about Morocco, have to tell you that football, anything can happen. If Hakimi could miss penalty, if Kai Havertz, who rarely misses penalties in France, there are too many to mention. Dembele, Cheki, Mbappe, Olise, Doué. In fact, if I start mentioning them, maybe I will probably mention the full 11, because everybody there, I can tell you for a fact, they are all good. They are all superstars. And they are going to have to play Sweden. Sweden, a side that took a 5-1 defeat to the Netherlands, are coming to play France in the round of 32. What are your predictions? What are your thoughts? I would love to see your comments on this prediction. Drop them, on our handle. Let's see what you have predicted and see if it's going to work out just the way you have said. We have said our own part in the studio. For me, I'm going to give France a 2-1 victory. Mr. Goodhope has said he's going to give them, of course, they are going to have to score up to 4 goals. And of course, Sweden also has to score. So
that match will be rain of goals.
Rain of goals. So in terms of 4 goals to 1, because
4
of
goals
course
to
we
1,
know
4
France,
goals to 2.
France like to
it could be
concede.
4-3.
Wow, that's 7 goals thriller. Then we are.
It's one of the games in this World Cup that will have a lot of goals.
A lot of goals. We are expecting a lot of goals. So we would love to see.
By Eric Chelle, just in the 2 games that just came up in the Unity Cup, and then the friendlies Nigeria had with Poland and Portugal. Everyone was saying, people made their comments, why will he be left out? Why was he not called up to play in the games? And it's just a matter of the coach's decision. But we are having to see that, according to rumor, that his deal with...
He has been in the African League for quite a lot of years. He has been in South Africa, keeping for Chippa United. So for him to even try to sign for Simba, I don't know. He was one that said he wants to try some other options. And these options, are you still remaining in the African League? Don't you want to go somewhere and even earn better? How can you be struggling to pay the like of Stanley Wabali $30,000 a month? You should not even be talking about that kind of fee. This is someone that if he comes, that are going to get.
In a world that never stands still, where stories break in seconds and moments shape history, one station keeps you connected to your nation, to the continent, to the world.
From breaking news to powerful stories, from business and politics to culture, lifestyle and entertainment, we inform, we inspire, we keep you ahead.
This is more than television. This is your window to everywhere that matters.
Aneke TV. Move with the world.
Good morning and welcome to news around the globe on Aneke TV. I am Onyinyechi and I'm glad to have you join us. The headlines. Federal Executive Council approves sweeping reforms of the the Unite Against Terror campaign, describing insecurity as the greatest threat to peace economic growth and development, technology, and closer collaboration with the local communities. He noted that despite Gombe's proximity to insurgency-prone states in the northeast, the state has maintained relative peace through sustained security reforms introduced since 2019, including the establishment of the Ministry of Internal Security, Neighborhood Peace Committees, and the Gombe State Security Corps. The governor also called for stronger regional collaboration among northern states, advocating the immediate operationalization of the Northern State Security Trust Fund to enhance border security and intelligence sharing. Troops of the Joint Task Force Northwest under Operation Fasanyama have intensified operations against armed bandits, killing 2 suspected terrorists, arresting 8 collaborators, and rescuing a kidnapped victim during coordinated operations in Kaduna and Zamfara states. According to military authorities, the operations targeted several criminal hideouts, where troops working alongside local vigilantes intercepted armed bandits and kidnapped victims through parts of Giwa and Kaduna North local government areas. The ensuing gun battle forced the criminals to abandon their vehicles and flee into nearby forest. 1 hostage was rescued alive, while the other victim was found dead. Security forces also repelled an attack on ndlea village, where 2 suspected terrorists were neutralized. In a separate intelligence-led operation in Magami community, Zamfara state, troops arrested 2 suspected collaborators accused of providing medical assistance to injured bandits. In Chinkun local government area of Kaduna state, troops laid a successful ambush that forced fleeing cattle rustlers to abandon 110 stolen cows, which were subsequently recovered and returned to their owners. The military says ongoing operations will continue to target criminal networks and their support structures across the Northwest. Former Plateau State Governor Senator Joshua Darie has presented a 2-volume peace and security report to Governor Caleb Muftwag, outlining recommendations aimed at enduring recurring violence and restoring lasting peace across the state. The report was prepared following renewed attacks on several communities in the first half of 2026 that resulted in loss of lives and displacements of residents. Presenting the document in Jos, Darie said the committee recommended institutional reforms, improved protection for farming communities, and the safe return of internally displaced persons to their ancestral homes. He noted that the previous peace initiatives achieved limited success due to poor implementation and policy discontinuity, stressing that the new recommendations emphasizes conflict resolution, youth empowerment, trauma healing, and stronger collaboration among religious, traditional, and community leaders. Receiving the report, Governor Caleb Muftwag described it as an important framework for sustainable peace and assured that the recommendations will be presented before a broad stakeholders forum for further consultation. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has commenced specialized firearms training for selected officers as part of efforts to strengthen its operational capacity against increasingly violent drug trafficking syndicates. Speaking at the inauguration of the training program at the NDLEA Academy in Jos, Plateau State, the chairman of the agency, retired Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, said the evolving tactics of drug cartels now require officers to be adequately equipped and professionally trained to respond to emerging security threats. Marwa said the firearms and related equipment were acquired through international cooperation to improve the agency's operational effectiveness. He explained that the first batch of trained instructors would return to their respective commands to conduct step-down training for personnel before the equipment is deployed for field operations. The NDLEA chairman stressed that the use of firearms would be guided by professionalism, discipline, and strict adherence to the rules of engagement. The Anambra State Police Command has taken custody of 35 persons, including 6 suspects and 29 rescued children and young persons, as part of ongoing efforts to combat child labor, street hawking, human trafficking, and other forms of child exploitation in the state. Police Public Relations Officer Mr. Tochukwu Ikenga said the victims and suspects were handed over to the command by the Anambra State Ministry of Women Affairs following an operation in Nnewi. He said the exercise is aimed at profiling those involved, establishing their identities, and facilitating investigations into the alleged offenses. The suspects identified as Anyingo Glory, Nwafo Godwin, Chukwudi Ofoke, Chinenye Anyengo, Chukwudi Okudili Ifoma, and Moses Anyingo are alleged to have been linked to the exploitation of the rescued children. The police said efforts are also underway to unite the victims with their families and states of origin to collaboration with relevant government agencies and child protection stakeholders. The Federal Executive Council has approved far-reaching reforms to the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC), including the appointment of a civilian Director General to head the scheme for the first time since its establishment in 1973. The reforms approved at the Federal Executive Council meeting presided by President Bola Tinubu in Abuja are designed to reposition the NYSC to better align with national development priorities. They include extending the orientation course from 3 to 6 weeks, introducing specialized service streams, and replacing the traditional passing out parade with a graduation ceremony. Under the new framework, Corps members will be assigned to specialized areas such as agriculture, healthcare, technology, education, and entrepreneurship to strengthen skills development and improve empowerability. The military will continue to provide security at orientation camp, while administrative leadership shifts to a civilian structure. The Council also approved major investments in health and infrastructure, including the establishment of a national snakebite research and medical center in Gombe State, funding for procurement of tuberculosis and reproductive health commodities, and the construction of the Boko airstrip in Benue State to improve regional connectivity and support economic activities. The Ekiti state government has approved a textbook reuse policy that will allow younger siblings to inherit school books from older ones as part of measures to reduce the cost of education for families across the state. Under the new policy announced by the Ministry of Education, primary school textbooks will be reviewed once every 6 years, while the review cycle for secondary school books has been extended from 3 to 4 years. The government says the measure is aimed at easing the financial burden on parents without compromising the quality of education. The ministry directed all public and private schools to comply with the policy, warning that sanctions would be imposed on any school that compels parents to purchase unnecessary new textbooks in violation of the guidelines. The government also reaffirmed its ban on graduation ceremonies for pupils in kindergarten, nursery, primary and secondary schools, saying the policy is intended to eliminate avoidable expenses and make quality education more affordable for every child in Ekiti State. Nigeria recorded over 102,025 new HIV infections across the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, according to the latest national HIV estimates released by health authorities. The result identified Lagos State as recording the highest number of new infections with more than 10,000 cases, followed by Rivers and Kano states, each with over 6,000 new infections. The figures underscore the continuing burden of HIV despite sustained treatment and prevention efforts. The National Agency for Control of AIDS, NACA, expressed concern over rising infections among young people, adolescent girls, and other vulnerable groups. The agency also warned that declining international funding poses a significant challenge to sustaining free HIV testing, treatment, and prevention programs. Health experts have urged state governments to increase domestic funding for HIV interventions to sustain progress towards ending the epidemic as a public health threat by 2030. They stressed the need for expanded public awareness campaigns, improved access to preventable services, and stronger community-based interventions. The Nigeria Democratic Congress, NDC, says it has uploaded the name of its presidential candidate, Mr. Peterobi, to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, portal after filing an appeal against the court judgment ordering the party's deregistration. The national leader of the party, Senator Sarah K. Dixon, announced this in a statement, saying the appeal and an application for stay of execution had been served on INEC. He maintained that the NDC remains a legally recognized political party pending the determination of the appeal. According to Dixon, the party has successfully concluded its primary elections under INEC supervision and has been granted access to upload the names of its candidates for the 2027 general elections. He ordered that the vice presidential candidate's detail would be submitted after the completion of the required documentation. The former Bayelsa State Governor urged party members to remain calm, assuring them that the reconciliation process had commenced following the primaries. He expressed confidence that the court would determine the matter in accordance with the law while the party continues preparations within the timetable released by INEC. You're watching news around the globe, coming to you live from Aneke TV. For more updates and breaking news stories, stay connected with us on social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube at Aneke TV. And now here is a recap for some of the major stories making the headlines. Federal Executive Council approves major reforms of the National Youth Service Corps, appoints Civilian Director General. Nigeria records 102,025 new HIV infections, with Lagos accounting for the highest number of cases. Coming up shortly on the foreign scene, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa urges peaceful anti-migrant protest ahead of planned demonstrations. On business news, Federal Executive Council approves 4.34 trillion naira financing package to support infrastructure and economic development. We'll be back shortly.
The Insight with Uche Osai.
Having the political will to confront whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the broad mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter whose ox is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices. Uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on The Insight with Uche Osai on Aneke TV. Join us.
Welcome back. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado says she is determined to return to Venezuela to support relief efforts following last week's devastating earthquakes, which have claimed more than 1,700 lives and displaced thousands of residents. Machado, who is currently in Panama, accused the Venezuelan authorities of preventing her return to the country. In a video message posted on social media, Machado said she was prepared to do whatever it takes to assist citizens and help coordinate humanitarian efforts during the emergency. The earthquakes caused widespread destruction across parts of the country, leaving thousands injured and many communities without shelter. Her planned return has also generated diplomatic attention in Washington, where U.S. officials have reportedly advised her to delay the trip amid concerns over security and the evolving political situation. Machado has since sought support from senior officials in the United States to facilitate her return. The disaster has intensified pressure on Venezuela's interim authorities as rescue and relief operations continue. Engineers have also raised concern over poor construction standards and weak enforcement of building regulations, which they say contributed significantly to the scale of the destruction. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has called for calm ahead of planned anti-immigration protests, urging demonstrators to exercise their constitutional rights peacefully and without intimidation, threats, or violence. The protests coincide with an unofficial deadline issued by anti-immigration groups demanding documented migrants to leave the country. President Ramaphosa reaffirmed that while government remains committed to strengthening immigration controls, all lawfully resident foreign nationals are entitled to the full protection of South Africa's constitution and laws. He also warned that security agencies would act decisively against anyone attempting to incite violence or public disorder. Thousands of foreign nationals from countries including Malawi, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Ghana, and Nigeria have voluntarily returned home in recent weeks amid growing fears of xenophobic attacks. South African authorities say more than 12,000 undocumented migrants have also been deported or repatriated since the protest began earlier this year. Police have been deployed to major cities including Johannesburg and Durban to maintain law and order during the demonstrations. The government has reiterated that peaceful protest is permitted, but any act of violence, intimidation, or vigilantism would not be tolerated. France has maintained its highest public health emergency alerts as authorities prepare for another wave of extreme temperatures following one of the country's most severe heat waves on record. Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu chaired an emergency meeting to assess the national response as forecasters warned that temperatures could rise again later this week. French health authorities say approximately 1,000 excess deaths have been recorded since the onset of the heat wave, older people accounting for the majority of the fatalities. Hospitals and emergency services remain on high alert as the government continues to coordinate nationwide response measures. The government has mobilized additional medical personnel and reinforced hospital capacity under its highest healthcare emergency plan. Residents, particularly older adults and vulnerable groups, have been advised to stay hydrated, avoid prolonged exposure to sun, and follow official public health guidelines. Scientists say the exceptional heat wave highlights the increasing impact of climate change across Europe, with France among the countries hardest hit. Authorities have warned that weather conditions remain volatile and are urging the public to remain vigilant as the risk of renewed extreme heat persists. The Federal Executive Council has approved a 4.34 trillion naira financing package to support key infrastructure, transportation, agriculture, power, and small business projects across the country. The approvals were granted at the council meeting presided over by President Bola Tinubu in Abuja. The package includes 215 billion naira for expansion of compressed natural gas (CNG) buses, electric vehicles, and tricycle conversion programs aimed at reducing transportation costs. Council also approved a $900 million facility for rural development and agricultural value chain projects, as well as $160 million Islamic Development Bank loan for solar energy projects in Niger State. Also approved is $1.2 billion for the KB section of the Sokoto-Badagry Super Highway, alongside other projects designed to improve infrastructure and stimulate economic growth. The approvals form part of the administration's strategy to strengthen productivity, create jobs, and improve access to critical services. Addressing the journalist after the meeting, Chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, said the government was monitoring fuel pricing to ensure consumers benefit from reductions in global crude oil prices. He also urged operators using government-supported CNG vehicles to reflect lower operating costs in transportation fares. The Abia State government has directed commercial tricycle operators in Aba to comply with road safety regulations as part of efforts to improve transportation and reduce road accidents across the state. Speaking during a one-day security and safety seminar for operators, the Commissioner for Transport, Dr. Chimeze Ukewu, said the administration of Governor Alex Oti is committed to building a safe, efficient, and orderly transport system. He urged operators to embrace responsible driving and comply with traffic regulations. Officials of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, ndlea, and the Nigeria Police Force delivered lectures on defensive driving, vehicle maintenance, drug abuse prevention, and the importance of providing security information to law enforcement agencies. Leaders of the Abia State Tricycle Operators Union welcomed the initiative, describing it as timely. Participants also commended the state governor's ongoing road rehabilitation projects and pledged to support efforts aimed at improving safety and service delivery in the transport sector. An official of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, has been injured after he was allegedly stabbed with a screwdriver during a traffic enforcement operation at Ilekpo in Ward Abuele Egba along the Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway. According to the Director of Public Affairs and Enlightenment Department of LASMA, Mr. Adebayo Taufik, the suspect, identified as Lekan Olasunkami, has been arrested and handed over to the police for investigation and possible prosecution. The agency said the incident occurred when LASMA officers attempted to remove a Volkswagen commercial bus obstructing traffic at the busy Ilekpo market corridor. The driver reportedly resisted the enforcement exercise before the conductor allegedly attacked one of the traffic officers with a screwdriver. The injured officer was taken to a nearby hospital where he received treatment and is said to be responding well. Reacting to the incident, the General Management Manager of LASMA, Mr. Olelakan Bakere Oki, condemned the attack and warned against assaults on traffic officials performing their lawful duties, reaffirming the agency's commitment to enforcing traffic regulations across Lagos State. Now over to the sports news. Super Falcons midfielder Esther Okoronkwo has returned to competitive action after nearly 2 months on sidelines with a knee injury, providing a timely boost for Nigeria ahead of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. The 29-year-old came off the bench to play 25 minutes as AFC Toronto defeated Vancouver Rise 3-1 in the Northern Super Eagles Okoronkwo League. Okoronkwo has been ruled out since suffering a meniscus tear during AFC Toronto's league match against Halifax, an injury that also kept her out of Nigeria's international fielders friendlies against Senegal. On the business news, Nigerian businessman and socialite Pascal Okechukwu, popularly known as Cubana Chief Priest, has shared memories of his childhood ambition as to become a Catholic priest, revealing that he once attended a junior seminary in fulfillment of his mother's wish. In a post on his verified Instagram page, Cubana Chief Priest shared a throwback photograph from his seminary days and reflected on the values of faith and discipline that shaped his early life. He said the experience continues to influence his outlook despite his success in business and entertainment. The celebrity entrepreneur also expressed a desire to reconnect more deeply with his Catholic faith, describing the reflection as a tribute to his late mother's influence and sacrifices. And now to end the news, the main point again. The Federal Executive Council has approved far-reaching reforms of the National Youth Service Corps, replacing military leadership with a civilian Director General for the first time since the scheme was established in 1973. The reform also extends the orientation program to 6 weeks, introduce specialized service streams, and replace the traditional passing out parade with a graduation ceremony. And that concludes the news around the globe on Aneke TV. For more updates and breaking news stories, follow us on all our social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube at Aneke TV. Thank you for watching. I am Onyechi Ugu. Good morning.
Security is not just police on patrol. It is safety in homes, schools, markets, and mines. Without it, progress is impossible. Be alert, report danger, support community watch. True security is collective responsibility.
In theory, elections are the strongest expression of democracy. But in Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation, the reality is more complex. Despite regular elections since the return to civilian rule in 1999, voter turnout has shown fluctuations and in some cases a steady decline. In the 2023 general elections, turnout dropped to around 27% of registered voters, one of the lowest since 1999, highlighting concerns about deepening voter apathy. Analysts link this trend to distrust in institutions, insecurity, and a widespread belief among citizens that elections do not translate into meaningful change in daily life. The consequences are far-reaching. When large sections of the electorate disengage, elections can be decided by smaller, more organized voting blocs. This raises concerns about representation and legitimacy. For example, in several state elections, including governorship contests in Lagos, Kano, and Rivers in recent cycles, outcomes have been determined by narrow margins relative to total registered voters, hence underscoring how limited participation can shape leadership outcomes. Experts say this weakens accountability and distances citizens from decision-making processes that directly affect their lives, including infrastructure, security, and economic policy. Several factors have been identified as driving low civic participation in Nigeria. One major issue is confidence in the electoral process. Despite reforms by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, including the introduction of beavers and electronic transmission of results, disputes over election credibility continue to surface, especially after closely contested races. Insecurity is another critical factor. In parts of the Northeast and Northwest, communities affected by insurgency and banditry have seen reduced voter turnout due to fear of attacks during election periods. Similar concerns have been recorded in some Southeast states, where sit-at-home orders have disrupted voting activities. Economic hardship also plays a role. In urban centers such as Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Abuja, many citizens say immediate survival concerns, rising food costs, transport fares, and unemployment reduce interest in political participation. There is also the influence of identity politics, where voting elections are shaped by ethnicity, religion, and political loyalty rather than policy performance. In past elections, including 2015, 2019, and 2023, analysts have pointed to voting patterns
that closely followed regional and identity lines. In some cases, campaign rhetoric has further reinforced these divisions, making issue-based politics more difficult to sustain. Observers say this limits the ability of the electorate to make fully informed choices based on governance records, economic plans, or service delivery outcomes. A global comparison shows Nigeria is not alone in facing declining voter engagement. Many democracies have experienced similar trends. However, countries such as Sweden and Germany continue to record turnout levels above 70%, largely due to strong institutional trust, consistent civic education, and reliable electoral systems. Closer to Africa, Ghana is often cited as a comparative example, where voter turnout has remained relatively strong due to sustained public confidence in the Electoral Commission and a more consistent acceptance of electoral outcomes. But analysts also stress that responsibility does not rest with institutions alone. Citizens themselves play a role in shaping democratic outcomes. In Nigeria, practices such as vote buying have been reported in several elections, including during party primaries and general elections, particularly in some local government areas where voters are allegedly induced with cash or food items. There is also the issue of post-election disengagement, where citizens withdraw from civic monitoring after voting, reducing pressure on elected officials to deliver campaign promises. The path forward, experts argue, requires reforms on several fronts. Strengthening electoral credibility, improving security during elections, and expanding civic education are seen as key steps toward rebuilding trust. There are also calls for sustained voter sensitization at community level, particularly targeting young voters, who make up a significant proportion of Nigeria's population and are increasingly active on digital platforms but less engaged at polling units. Ultimately, democracy depends not only on the right to vote, but on the confidence and willingness to use that right consistently and responsibly. In Nigeria, the challenge remains how to rebuild that confidence so that elections reflect not just political competition, but the genuine will and participation of the people.
Time, the silent witness to human courage, the keeper of memory, the archivist of greatness.
Across the vast landscapes of Africa, from the savannas to the bustling cities, voices once rose, ideas once bound, and visions once dared to challenge the limits of their age.
They were not merely individuals. They were epochs in human form.
In literature, minds such as Chinua Achebe, Wole Soyinka, and Ngugi wa Thiong'o reclaimed the African narrative.
Through ink and imagination, they dismantled distorted histories and restored the dignity of African identity. Their words were not just stories.
They were mirrors, reflecting a people long misunderstood, and windows opening the world to the depths of African civilization.
In the realm of science and knowledge, pioneers like Philip Emeagwali proved that African intellect could reshape the frontiers of computing and technology. Their work was a quiet revolution, reminding the world that innovation knows no geography.
And in leadership, towering figures emerged when history demanded courage. Men like Nnamdi Azikiwe, Kwame Nkrumah, Nelson Mandela, and Julius Nyerere redefined freedom, not as a privilege bestowed, but as a right reclaimed.
They spoke for millions. They endured prisons, exile, and resistance. Yet, their vision transcended the politics of their time.
They dreamed of a continent awakened. Today, their echoes travel through generations.
In every African classroom, in every curious mind, in every dream that refuses limitation. For history is not merely what has passed, it is the foundation upon which tomorrow stands.
The past still speaks. Its lessons remain. Its voices endure.
This is not just remembrance, it is inheritance. Echoes of the past, where history breathes and
It's a beautiful Tuesday morning here in the heart of the southeastern state, Enugu. It's a bright morning, it's a beautiful morning, like I said earlier, and I welcome you to Sunrise here on Aneke TV, a breakfast show here on the station, where we'll bring to you highlights and conversations surrounding events on the newspaper and across the world. I am Princess Ken Ochoma.
And I'm Uche Osai, saying good morning to you and to our global audience. Wherever you are, at home, in your office, or in transit, thank you for letting us into your space this beautiful morning. We're here to refresh, inform, and motivate.
Now, on the stories of this one, before we get into it, we have, a whole lot of conversations ranging from the upload of candidates list on the INEC portal over to the new approved recommendations regarding the National Service Corps from the Federal Executive Council, and these are some of the issues we shall be addressing this morning, discussing them extensively, analyzing and see how we can find a way around all of that. Now, before we get right into all of that, we'll bring our quote for the morning, and our quote this morning is from Frantz Fanon. Quote this morning is from Frantz Fanon. Each generation must discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it in relative opacity. Each generation must discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it in relative opacity. Each generation must decide or discover what makes them unique, not just to discover them. They either fulfill it or betray it. They either harness it or let it die. And when we talk about opacity, we're talking about the ability to be relevant, the ability to let, light, progress shine forth through you. So in each generation, we are encouraged to harness our potentials to the highest level. It's not, we preach against mediocrity, we preach against irrelevances. And this morning, Frantz Fanon is reminding us that in every generation, in every, atmosphere, environment you find yourself, there is a need, an important need, a necessity on you to harness your potentials, to find what your mission is and to fulfill it. And in this case, not betray, because the mission you betray in your generation affects the next generation. The duty you fail to perform in your time get to affect the decisions or the inactions that the next generation will face. So it is important that we harness and let our light shine, not just becoming reluctant or redundant in expressing and fulfilling purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Frantz Fanon here is telling us that each generation must discover its mission, fulfill it or betray it in relative opacity. And looking at this, What I will just tell you is what our mission is. Yes, that's what I can speak to. And I know we do not need in any means betray that mission. And our mission is to make sure that the generation after us enjoys a better nation, that will restore the faith, the hope, and the trust in this nation, that we do not let the men who had meal ticket and then ensure that the generation next, that is ours, we didn't have to enjoy the meal ticket they enjoyed at the tertiary institution, that the men who this nation catered for, provided for, ensure that they got employed fresh out of secondary school, yet they made sure that we were on strike. The generation that never ensured that Medicare is free in Nigeria, speaking to healthcare. The generation that ensure that our lecturers and teachers are perpetually on strike. Our mission is to correct the anomalies left and entrusted upon us by that generation, by making sure that the generation next enjoy the best of this nation. It is our mission. And I tell you another thing, there's only one way to accomplish that mission. The hour is upon us. Let us stand up, get to the nearest INEC registration center, get our PVC. With that very card in our hand, we can shape the future of this nation. With that card, like those of them in Abia State today, they enjoy the dividends of democracy, the dividends of good governance. We can ensure that the generation next will enjoy the best that this nation can offer. The hope, the faith, and believe that your nation cares. That's the faith, the hope that we can ensure that the next generation enjoys. Yes, we have to ensure that the tradition left behind for us by men who this nation pampered, and then they ensure that we trekked to our destination, that we work with our certificate, not knowing what to use it for, either to fry akara or sell kulikuli. We have to ensure that the generation next has a clearer direction. That's the mission that we cannot betray. Therefore, get up where you are now. Go get your PVC. And if you do have it, keep it handy. When the hour comes, we'll have to sift through and elect men who will lead our generation to the promised land.
That's just about it. Franz Fanon is telling us that every generation, each generation must discover its mission, fulfill it, or if you like, betray it. The ball is in your court. It's up to you to decide to fulfill your mission or betray your vision. That's the quote for this morning. We'll take a short break, and when we get back, we're diving right into our weather update for the morning. Stay with us.
In a world that never stands still, where stories break in seconds and moments shape history, one station keeps you connected to your nation, to the continent, to the world.
From breaking news to powerful stories, from business and politics to culture, lifestyle and entertainment, we inform, we inspire, we keep you ahead.
This is more than television. This is your window to everywhere that matters.
Aneke TV. Move with the world.
You're still watching Sunrise here on Aneke TV. Next, we'll take a look at the weather report across major cities in the southeast today.
Good morning, Anambra State. The day in Anambra starts warm and humid, with morning temperatures between 24 and 26 degrees Celsius. By afternoon, temperatures will rise to 31 to 33, bringing hot, muggy conditions. As the day progresses, expect cloud buildup, thunderstorms, and moderate rainfall across much of the state.
Good morning, Enugu, and welcome to the coast city. The day in Enugu begins cool, cloudy, and wet, with early morning rain and temperature around 23 to 25 degrees Celsius. Afternoon temperatures will peak at 31 to 32 degrees Celsius. Though showers may keep conditions slightly cooler, expect persistent rainfall and thunderstorms coming through in the evening.
The day in Ebonyi starts warm and humid with morning temperatures of 24 to 26 degrees Celsius. By afternoon, temperatures will rise to 32 to 33, making it the warmest state in the region today. Expect heavy cloud cover, gusty winds and thunderstorms before evening, with temperatures easing to 24 to 25 degrees Celsius.
Good morning, Imo State, and welcome to the driving city of Owerri. The day in Imo starts mild and cloudy, with temperatures ranging from 23 to 25 degrees Celsius. Afternoon temperatures will reach 30 to 31 degrees Celsius, accompanied by high humidity. Scattered thunderstorms and rainfalls are expected later in the day.
The day in Abia opens warm with overcast skies, as temperatures range between 23 and 25 degrees Celsius. Afternoon temperatures will climb to 30 to 31, while showers and thunderstorms are expected from late afternoon into the evening. Temperatures will fall to 23 to 24 overnight.
So, wherever you are in the southeast today, stay safe, stay cool, dress light, and do keep an umbrella handy. Then remember that either rain or shine, we've got you covered. And this is your weather report here on Sunrise. We'll take a short break and we'll return with more updates. Stay with us, please.
Law is the architecture of civilization, the silent force that orders society and defines justice. Yet, within its complexity, many remain uncertain of their rights, their obligations, and the protections the law affords. From the inviolability of human rights to the intricate doctrines governing property and civil relations. This is a platform where law is demystified, where principle meets practice and knowledge becomes empowerment. Because justice is not abstract, it is personal. You and the law on Aneke TV.
You're welcome back. This is still Sunrise on Aneke TV. Now we'll be delving right into our newspaper conversations this morning. And the papers we shall be looking at, the stories we shall be looking into this morning are from these newspapers. From the Daily Sun, from Frontline Africa, The Punch, The Guardian, and The Daily Trust.
And joining us, as always, with in-depth insights, deeper analysis, and need to know on background on issues is Aneke TV's in-house analyst, Res Arum. Mr. Res, a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. We're here to give out what we used to give out to our viewer.
All right. Yes, we'll have to give out what we'll give out to our viewers. But let me ask, do you ever get weary or tired of discussing Nigeria and talking about Nigeria?
How can you get tired of discussing Nigeria? All is not well. The situation are such that it elicits discourse at all times. And as we lend voice to these things, the government of the day will certainly listen and begin to do adjustments to move us forward so that the lives of the greater percentage of the population will be made to go on well. Otherwise, we are getting doomed if we do not interrogate the situation. That's why we discuss about Nigeria. We can never get tired. We all salvage it together. Those who are running away from Nigeria are running away from their responsibility. What we have to do is to salvage it together. The change starts from each and every one of us.
All right. This is so encouraging to hear and know that you're never discouraged, despite the repetition and the happenings around us. Quite encouraging. A pleasure to have you, Mr. Res.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we're starting off from the Daily Sun. The newspaper headline reads, Aftermath of Primaries. APC ignores protest, settles for governor's list. Aftermath of primaries, APC ignores protest, settles for governor's list. Now, the All Progressives Congress has quietly settled the question of who its authentic candidates are for the 2027 governorship, Senate, House of Representative, and House of Assembly elections, even as the party publicly insists that no list exists. Now, sources have told or are told that the National Working Committee has approved a comprehensive list across the states, and that the State Working Committee has since begun issuing INEC nomination forms exclusively to those cleared by the national leadership. This comes the development comes after the party's primaries were marred by widespread crisis with parallel congresses, and also this leaves the question of legitimate flag bearers unresolved in the public eye. We've seen the APC primaries and how it turned out, how some persons raised questions. But now we are finding out that these lists we are giving out, from this report, this list we are giving out over 3 weeks ago when they started trainings with the INEC officials that will upload these names on the portal. So APC has come out to say that they officially, that there hadn't been any official list prior to this time, but now they have issued out the candidates and the list has been uploaded on the portal.
That goes to tell you about the principle of the supremacy of the party. You see, when you are a party faithful, it's either you show your loyalty to show that the party is supreme in their decisions as it affects their internal arrangements in terms of primaries, in terms of leadership, in terms of everything that they have to do as a political party. The party faithfuls must be very loyal. That is why there came a kind of protest. You see, when you think you have won the primaries of a party, sometimes the party in their wisdom, or the political parties in their wisdom, can decide to change the so-called, that's the person that won, in quote, won the primaries, giving certain reasons that may not favor the same candidate or the same aspirant. Therefore, when people were protesting that certain things were not done well, it is upon them, they cannot change it. And these days, based on the plethora of Supreme Court rulings, you can no longer go to court to challenge those things because they are internal affairs of the party. They take their decisions, they resolve their issues on their own. And that is one thing that Nigeria, the government of Nigeria has done for political party arrangements to be exclusively for the parties, so that the issue of litigations here and there, especially during and after primaries, you see litigation, post-primary, party primary election litigations. It will be there everywhere. You can only go to court when there's been an infringement on the constitution of the party, not on decisions about leadership or decisions about who represents the party. These things are internal affairs of the party. Therefore, those who are saying it is, that's why the party said, we are uploading those who we think are our candidates. And nothing but that. Those who are not uploaded, of course, it is constitutionally right for you to either approach the court or not. And when you approach the court, the Constitution prescribes whether the court has rights or jurisdiction to hear, or whether the court do not have jurisdiction to hear. So these things are there and very much open. But the disenchantment among the party faithfuls as a result of the way they are doing things begins to point at lack of internal democracy in the political parties. if the political parties do have internal democracy, for instance, if people are coming to vote for these candidates, for these aspirants to become candidates of a party, and it is transparently done, fine and good. That would also give us the best of leadership. But in the present circumstance where these things are hand-kept, and when you were going through your synopsis, you were talking about the governor's list, which means the governors have been so empowered to handpick who represents the party in their states. So that's exactly what has happened. And you do not expect that the governor will be the fairest person to pick who will become candidates. He will pick his cronies, of course, and that is exactly what has been done. And where there's a situation like that, of course, very many people will certainly become disenchanted. But based on the concept of supremacy of the party, all those people who are disenchanted should just join. Because when the party wins election, there are much more appointments to be done. So such persons can still serve in various capacities in government if their party wins election. So that's the way it is done.
Okay. Personally, I feel like this, this is a personal opinion, because if someone has subjected himself or submitted himself for primaries, and the outcome of the primaries shows that he has won, so it's just common to, commonplace for the person assumed to make it to the final list. Now, to come out and say, oh, we are choosing irrespective of whoever was declared winner at the primaries, we are choosing who we, like you said, we think should represent the party in these capacities. So what does this make out of the integrity of the said party?
Look at it from this perspective. Initially, after the primaries, they don't, give out the result. They don't call out the result of who won.
But at least we get to, some of them we read here,
yeah,
this person won with this number of votes,
It was just pointed out that this person won or this person won. We made it to this, via the observers, the journalists. And they have not released their own result. It is not until after this uploading they will make everything public. So you cannot say the party released the result. Remember, during your synopsis, it has shown that the party denied ever releasing result or publishing anything. That is in the capacity as the party. That is exactly what happened. Most of the parties, not all of them, most of the parties are following suit. The NDC have not published the results of their primaries up to date, up to this point. Yet, they are already uploading. Of course, the leader of the party, Siraki, said they are uploading. And his name is even uploaded as a senatorial candidate, which means they are yet to actually formally release the result. When it comes to the public domain, everybody will see who has made it to become a candidate of the party. That is exactly why it is so. It's not as if maybe you see yourself as having won. And most often, sometimes in APC, for instance, they did most of their primaries through consensus. And remember that the governors had all the powers to select who. So it's only where the consensus was not, working that they resulted into an option A4. So that is the way it is.
Okay. We're moving on to the next story. The next story is from the Frontline Africa, and this is, personally, I find this quite personal because, it's a system that we are all familiar with. This is on the NYC reform. Federal government approves comprehensive NYC reform, orders amendment of Act. Now, the Federal Executive Council has approved a comprehensive reform of the National Youth Service Corps, marking the first major review of the scheme since its establishment 53 years ago. the Council directed the Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice, in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Youth, to amend the NYC Act and its operational regulations to incorporate these approved reforms and implement their facilitate their implementation. And these reforms include that it will no longer be handled by the military. It's be transferred to a civilian leadership where they will provide skill acquisition programs for these core members. And at the end of the service here, instead of a passing out parade, you're getting a graduation ceremony. And instead of 3 weeks orientation camp, you're getting 6 weeks. Now, there is also a plan to change the uniform. And then the only appendage for the military is that whilst in camp, they are only just to provide security. So every other thing, every other procedure that is experienced, the whole camp experience, the whole